address it. We can't just like not address it. I'm not surprised. We just have to talk about it first. What are these supposed to
I
be?
guess so.
Yeah. What are you?
Oh, I don't know. I just saw an anime girl who had her face like this, and I thought it looked cool. I'm not even doing like the rest of an outfit or matching outfit. I just saw it and it looked cool. I'm appropriating some anime girl.
Yeah. So why did she have that on her face?
I don't know.
I'm assuming you have been cut with a sword, and you're just putting it to get back to like
stapled back together, maybe.
Yeah. You would like yeah. All right. All right. Well, I like it. It looks good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey guys, so obviously we're ready for the news show. If you guys are not familiar, this is where we talk about news that happened in the past week that has to do with religion, secularism, free expression, all sorts of other issues. Make sure to like this stream. It really helps the channel, especially because we cover a lot of controversial or not often talked about subjects or issues. And happy Halloween.
Yes. The thing is, we cut these videos in pieces, and it comes out like in a week from now. So a lot of people might not understand why when they watch the feature video. So at the beginning of every news, you have to explain what. No, I'm kidding. Okay, Ayan is scared. Ayan, you're so easily scared. Also, guys, we have a fundraiser, our legal defense fundraiser against Hindutva. So link in the description. Make sure you check it out. We're almost there. So thank you so much. We didn't expect.
Well, we're going to talk about that later, in fact.
Okay,
because there has been a development in India that we need to talk about.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay. Anyways, can we clap for the first news?
Yes, I thought this was quite amusing.
Okay. First news.
Egyptian cleric issues fatwa on bodybuilding. On October 11th, Abdullah Rushdie, an Egyptian Muslim preacher, issued a fatwa, or religious ruling, against bodybuilding and bodybuilding competitions. Rushdie explained that bodybuilders show intimate parts, which should be covered according to Islamic law. If you had to guess what he didn't like about the bodybuilding, what would you guess, Armin?
The fact that men are not covering the parts of their body that they should be covering, and this is making women feeling things, and that's haram.
Yes, they have to. He's telling them to cover their aura.
Exactly. No, actually, this makes literally sense. No, this makes absolute sense to me, because a lot of people assume that hijab is a woman thing in Islam. I mean, the thing that is specifically hijab is a woman thing, but the idea of covering yourself, they think it's a woman thing. It's not a woman thing. The woman has to cover her, and the man doesn't. But that doesn't mean that the men don't have to cover. Men also have to cover.
Yeah,
this is equality. This is like, yeah. Go on.
Well, so let me finish the rest of the summary. Rushdie's fatwa order came after famed Egyptian bodybuilder Mamdoun Elisibe won the Mr. Olympia 2021 championship in Orlando, Florida. Elsba, known popularly in Egypt as Big Ramy, won the competition for the second time in a row. Rushdie later clarified his views, stating that he is not saying no to sports, but that the rule of Sharia ought to be respected when doing so. Rushdie also called for women to not participate in any competition that requires them to show parts of their bodies. Ahmed Karima, a comparative jurisprudence professor at the renowned Al-Azhar University, rejected the fatwa, saying that the rules Rushdie used only applied to worship.
Who's talking about this? First of all, this is so Islamically true that you don't even need a fatwa for it. This is already Islam. This is already, you can't just like show your body like that in Islam. Like, you don't need clarification on this. And I'm surprised that people are like thinking like, oh, this is inaccurate. What do you mean this is inaccurate? You think women have to cover their body and that rule does not apply to men at all? Like, I know that they don't have to cover their hair, but do these other Muslims who are complaining, they think like in Islam there's no coverage for men's body? I'm actually more offended by these Muslims who are rejecting the preacher's fatwa.
Well, we can get into why.
Why? Go on.
So, so this professor at Al-Azhar explained that he rejected his ruling, saying God did not make men's bodies a means to sedition. Further saying, farmers raise their pants above their knees while watering the land or feeding the animals. This happens to be common in some industries as well. Sportswear, he said, is a custom and not a form of worship, so men will not end up in hell for wearing them. Custom is the support for Sharia law. And then another Egyptian writer said, Rushdie is so narrow-minded that he chose to speak about Aura and ignored the fact that Big Ramy won a world championship, as well as he left out the importance of sports and a healthy body.
Well, these people are, I mean, I'm amazed that I'm defending a Muslim preacher. Why would these logic not their arguments that they're using for why would apply to women? They're like, oh, why is he not talking about the importance of a unhealthy body? Like, okay, then let's apply that argument to women. Why? Like, imagine if you show a healthy woman's body in a bikini, and then as Muslims, then you would go and say like, oh, you shouldn't be showing that. That's like haram. I'm like, okay, well, you just said just a minute ago that why are you not celebrating her healthy body and sports and stuff, right? So would they say the same thing about women? This preacher is just being consistent. I'm defending the preacher. The preacher is just being consistent, and these people are not saying it. Also, what was that other guy that you mentioned? He said that men's body are not
a means to sedition.
Oh, wait, how do you?
God did not make men's bodies a mean to sedition. Meaning, like,
what does that mean?
Corruption and temptation.
Oh my God, you have no idea. You're poor fellow. Maybe your body is not. Maybe oh, this person does not know women. These people think women don't get horny. These people think they experience horniness and they assume it's a man thing. Like they don't understand that women have the capacity of looking at a man's body and getting horny about it. Like they don't think that's a thing.
Yeah, I think you're right. And what's hilarious is that, so in one of his videos, Rushdie goes on to explain that for men, their aura or their intimate parts is from the navel to the knees. Whereas, and then he says for women, according to him, and there are many different interpretations of this, but for women, it was everything except their eyes and hands.
Wait, they're saying the aura of men that needs to be protected is just from the navel to the knees?
Yes, he said, ladies, look away from those thighs. No thighs. He saw the thighs of those bodybuilders, and he said, ladies, lower your gaze.
Actually, he is. I think it's interesting because I was going to show you research where which part of the men's body women find the most attractive, and it is actually the V. The number one is the V around the crotch thing. If you're fit, I mean, okay. So technically, they're correct about the main part that they need to cover, but the arms and the abs are the chest and the arms are. I think the chest is a close second. So given research shows that a healthy arms and healthy like muscular arms and muscular chest is also attractive to women, So why would men only have to cover the most important part and women have to cover everywhere? It's bullcrap. We know that women are attracted into different other parts of the body as well. So this is nonsense. But go on. What were you gonna say?
Well, it's interesting because I heard that after the face, the body part that women are most attracted to or look for attraction in is hands, men's hands.
No, that's not what the study. I don't know if I could find it. No, it's
I need
not.
the ladies in the chat to tell me how heartbroken they are about. You're not allowed to see the bodybuilder thighs anymore, guys.
No, this okay. But by the way, no, I'm not gonna say anything. Well, let me just say it. The person who said that this is about health, okay, like we should be celebrating people's health. Bodybuilding is not healthy. Okay, so sports in general, like most sports, are not healthy. Yeah, I can't find that research, but in general, like this is not a bodybuilding is not about health. Like people think being fit and being able to compete in bodybuilding is the same thing. Bodybuilding takes you to levels way beyond what is healthy. It's not at all healthy. Yeah. Again, I'm not saying people shouldn't be doing it. Okay, if that's your passion, if you want to compete, but the level of so-called fitness or muscle building and and shreddedness that is required to be to even enter these competitions is way past what is healthy to your body.
Yeah, I think people don't. What's interesting is that this preacher Rushdie is very controversial in Egypt. Like, there's been a lot of people who have sent me his stuff before about how he's had like really problematic statements about women and blaming them for bad things that happened to them, and just a lot of other really controversial statements. And he's gotten quite a following from this. And what's so funny to me is that Al-Azhar, which is like one of the preeminent like Sunni schools of Islamic thought, has made an effort to distance themselves from him. They're saying like he's just a student we once had, like he doesn't represent us, like this isn't one of our rulings, and have really tried to dismiss him and reject what he says because he's so controversial and gives such a bad look to all the different things that he does. And this was another instance of them coming out and being like, he doesn't speak for us. Go bodybuild. Don't take this achievement away from Big Ramy.
Yeah. I just want to, by the way, guys, I'm not hating on bodybuilders when I say it's not healthy. Bodybuilders themselves will tell you what they're doing is not healthy. Like, this is like, they know this. They're making a sacrifice for their sport. Okay. So this is not like a controversial, this is not a controversial take. All right. Andrew is saying, I come late to this discussion, but could this also be an anti-gay thing?
How?
No.
Bodybuilding isn't gay.
Well, maybe Andrew was assuming that this preacher just saw it and he was like maybe attracted to it, and he was like, "This needs to stop. This is turning me on."
Oh, or maybe meaning because it could turn on men who are gay. That's what Andrew means. Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think
it is about them wearing the little Speedos, the little bikinis.
I think it's about I think it's actually it's a straight thing. I think all the arguments about this is attractive to women. Yeah. So this could corrupt women's minds and stuff like that.
Cool. Let's move to the next news.
Yeah. Okay. Susanna.
And we cannot clap for the next news.
Susanna wants to go party. That's yes. I understand. That's why we should. Okay. Cool. Not clap.
No clap.
No. Oh, no clap. Sorry. Next news.
Iranian criminal sentenced to being forcibly blinded. Earlier this month, it was reported that a court in Tehran, Iran, sentenced a man to be forcibly blinded. The unidentified man stands accused of blinding his neighbor during a fight in 2018. According to the victim, the accused stabbed him in the eye, causing irreparable damage. Quote, I have suffered a lot in these 4 years, and I have no intention of forgiving, the victim said. The sentencing shows the use of, I'm not sure how to pronounce this, quizás. Or quizás.
That's us.
Oh, I can't make that noise. An Islamic principle that calls for a punishment equal to the inflicted damage. This principle operates similarly to the biblical phrase in the book of Leviticus, an eye for an eye. Oftentimes, victims will accept blood money as compensation for the harm they endured, instead of pursuing literal physical retribution. These rulings are highly controversial in Iran and internationally condemned by human rights groups.
Are we sure? I had no idea this was a thing in Iran. Are we sure this is legit news?
Mm-hmm. This was reported by Radio Free Europe. What's interesting is that since 1979, there are only 2 occasions of the forced blindings actually being enforced. There's been many times where these like eye for an eye rulings get brought forward, but usually victims will either forgive the person who's been sentenced, or they, like I said, will accept financial compensation. But
this is so barbaric.
According to this form of Islamic law, like if the victim has the final say. And so if they don't forgive and they really want this to happen, they can. One of the article profiled this woman who was blinded back in the early 2000s with acid. And that was got a lot of international attention because she wanted to go forward with blinding her perpetrator or the perpetrator of the violence against her. And she ended up forgiving him, but he was going to be sentenced to be blinded, in fact, with acid also being poured in his face. And she was even going to do it to him at one point, or said that she wanted to. So in the 2 rulings where it actually has been enforced, which I think was 2015 and 2016 or thereabouts, so like recently, they like actually do what that person did. So like there was one guy whose eyes was gouged out, and while he was unconscious, doctors gouged out one of his eyes. And then there was another guy who blinded a 4-year-old girl with lime, not like the green fruit, like the chemical material with the calcium. He blinded a young girl that way. And so in turn, I think they blinded him in a similar manner.
Jesus Christ. What if the victim wanted the eyes to be gouged out while he's not unconscious, given that their eyes were blinded when they were awake?
I don't know. Well, so the article also talked about how it's really difficult to find doctors who will actually do this, because when they're carrying out the sentence, they can't just go attack the person like in the way that they attacked someone else. No, like you have a medical professional that's going to like administer this. But it's really difficult to find doctors who do it. So this is complete speculation, but maybe the doctors were like, we're not going to do this. At the minimum, he has to be unconscious. I don't know.
Okay. What would you say to somebody that might think like this is a good thing because these people were horrible people that did horrible things, and they might actually be like, this is kind of based. They like the fact that this is happening to these men. What would you respond to that?
I think retributive justice can be really dangerous. Like I think it's bad for society to enforce law and punishment in this way. One, because you're like completely crippling that person's ability to like provide for themselves, potentially, depending on like what the injury or whatever calls for. And if this was something that happened often, like that could really fuck up like your whole country's and society's potential. Like if this is how you enact justice on each other. It's also so cruel and it's torture. I don't support that.
Yeah. I mean, the problem is that a lot of people might be like, yeah, and like he can't make money anymore, like, and then they might say like, yeah, and well, he deserves it. And like, and some people are like, oh, it's torture, like, yeah, and he tortured somebody else. So people might keep justifying it. The way I respond is that the justice system is not supposed to be there to satisfy our sense of our desire for revenge. That's not the point of justice system. The justice system should be, it shouldn't be the point of the justice system. The point of it should be to protect society, and allowing torture, unusual punishment and torture, even if it might satisfy your urge to see somebody pay for their crimes, has not been the best way to run a civilized society. It's a society that is based on values that makes the society grow as a whole. The justice system is supposed to, the person that is to protect society from the elements within society that causes harm, and it should do the minimum that is required to remove the person that is causing harm to society from society. As long as you eliminate the threat, anything extra is just something that you want for enjoying someone else's pain, rather than just making sure there's no more harm that can be done from that person. You know what I mean? I think even the people who have committed the worst crimes, if you could put them in prison, and forever, for example, and they can't do any harm to society, we shouldn't want them to suffer while they're in jail, even if they have done the worst things, right? Some people might say like, well, no, they need to suffer so that other people are reluctant to do something like that. They learn from it. You could see the consequences. However, there are studies that shows that above a certain punishment, it doesn't have that effect on a lot of the people that do commit these crimes do not get discouraged. Again, there's a lot of studies on this, right? I mean, and even if you could show that it does discourage people, that should be the reason why we do punish people, not because we desire revenge, that we desire them to suffer, right? That is not a healthy society to be living in. Anyways, that's my whole argument. I don't want to continue.
I think that was absolutely perfect.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I was like, you are correct. That is a much better argument than what I put forward. As a matter of fact. Let's not clap for the next news. Okay.
Oh, Vince is here. Hi, Vince.
Hey.
All right.
Okay, next news. France honors teacher beheaded for blasphemy 1 year after his death. So when I'm talking about this news, I'm going to be saying terrorism repeatedly. When I say this, I am referring to violent radical extremism, or the T word. I think we all know what I'm talking about now. Okay, now that I've said that, I'm going to continue. On October 16th, schools across France paid homage in memory to the death of the first year death anniversary of Samuel Paty. Paty was a 47-year-old school teacher who was murdered in 2020 because he showed his classroom cartoon depictions of the Prophet Muhammad during a lesson about free speech. His murderer, Abdullah Anzorov, a 18-year-old Chechen, was killed during a confrontation with the police. French President Emmanuel Macron, commenting on Paty's murder, said that he was killed because he represented the secular democratic values of the French Republic. Paty was honored with a commemorative plaque outside the Ministry of Education that reads, "Homage to Samuel Paty, murdered by an Islamic terrorist for teaching and defending the values of the Republic, including freedom of expression." Several schools have been named after Paty, including a school in the multi-ethnic suburb of Valenton, and he will also be commemorated by having a square named after him in this other major university. So I wanted to cover this news because I thought it was also important to remember the first year anniversary of Samuel Paty's death. It happened in October 2020. And I think this event is having such massive ripple effects that is actually going to be of incredible importance in the news we cover later today in regards to Pakistan. And I think it is also kind of symbolic in many ways of this, as we become a more globalized world and society, continuing clashes and fights over the freedom of expression. And his death was an extremely poignant and horrible and painful reminder of exactly how important the freedom of expression is and why we need to protect it. Yeah. Armin, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Yeah. What was it? The memorial? What did I say? The plaque? What is it called?
The commemorative plaque?
Yes. Was that made by the government?
Yes.
And on it says he was killed by Islamic. Like it has the word Islam on there?
That's what was reported.
That's a oh wow. Okay. France's government doesn't hold back this. They're like
Wait, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean,
that caught my attention.
You did? Yeah, right. Like, it's not just me, huh? Like if it was other government, it would be like if it was like I don't know, Canada's government or UK's government or US's government, and they went ahead to plaque, they would be like he was killed by radicals, like evil people, or something like that. They wouldn't put the word Islam on there, but France is like, we're gonna say it. We're gonna say what happened. So yeah, I guess I admire that actually. France is like not holding back. Wow.
I was like,
no chills.
Going on the Ministry of Education's building. Okay.
Right. Okay. I think we should make art in his memory. What do you think? Maybe we can talk about that.
Yeah, I kind of like that idea. That could be cool.
Yeah.
I think there were a couple of other poignant comments that I wanted to read from other people in France commenting on this. So, French Prime Minister Jean Castex said, "Here's a man who wanted to do his job, a demanding and sometimes thankless job, a man who only inspired to transmit the values of freedom, secularism, tolerance, free will," Castex said on Saturday while unveiling this plaque in the presence of Paty's family. And then he continued saying, Samuel Paty was a victim of Islamist terrorism and human cowardice, underlining that paying tribute to him was also a way of supporting the Republican project, meaning the project of the French Republic. His family will also be meeting with President Emmanuel Macron, or they did meet on the day of that unveiling. There was also a really good quote that I wanted to read. Just a second. Oh, yeah. So the education minister was also speaking, saying the French Republic won't abandon its values of freedom and democracy. He was doing what was expected from a teacher, to transmit knowledge, and we will never forget him. There were also people talking about how he was, where was it? Like Macron, when commenting on his murder and saying how he reflected and represented these values that are so central to the French Republic, was saying Islamists want to take our future and they will never have it. And that's also something that's very important to talk about, how in the wake of this murder, France has issued all of these very controversial laws to prevent Islamist separatism. I think in the actual bill, it didn't say Islamist. I think it said religious, or maybe just to prevent separatism. Because Macron was so concerned about the formations of these separate societies that don't share the values of the French Republic, which include secularism and defending free expression, which includes, the whole point of it is to defend that which other people find offensive.
If the bill had, the plaque I'm in support of it saying Islam, but if the bill mentioned Islam, I would have been against the bill. I'm glad that the bill says religion and not Islam. It should be every religion. So I'm glad. By the way, we have this person. We have a Muslim, and I mean maybe a troll. I don't know if it's actually real. Okay, and this is what they're saying. This could be a troll. It could be serious, but I'm just like,
or it could be a follower of Ghanem Hussein Rizvi, who we will be talking about later today with the TLP party.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, the former leader.
So the implications of this death actually have huge implications in a way for the relationship of France and Pakistan, but also, I mean, Pakistan's relationship with the EU, like all this stuff. It's crazy how much it's expanded. And
look at this. Okay, I'm actually more pissed with you right now. Okay, because people come here and joke, and I always say like it could be a joke or it could be real, and they're like, it was a joke, buddy. Well, look at this. How could you tell? Is there like a sarcasm sign? Is there like a /S? Is there like an emoji with the tongue
How are we supposed to tell when people actually say this?
Do you think we could like read minds across the internet? Like that was and you're like, I'm no Muslim. Well, how can we tell? Like, that's why I said it could be serious or a troll, and apparently you ended up being a troll. So you're like, oh, Armin can't tell it, it's a joke. Like, it's text. It's text. You cannot tell that it's a joke or serious. Okay. Anyways, I'm gonna get the next news. I'm actually more pissed with you now as not a Muslim for thinking that you can read your minds than what you wrote as a Muslim. Okay, anyways. Can we clap for the next news?
No.
Oh, okay. Next news.
So once again, when I'm talking about this news, I'm going to be saying terrorism, which is violent radical extremism, the bad word, So if you want to know what I'm referring to, that's what I'm referring to when I say it, because of the YouTube algorithm. Okay.
Wait, you have to say that after you mention the title. So because our editor cuts it from when you say the title.
Oh, I'm not going to say it again.
Yeah. All right, I'll say it.
Oh, okay. British MP assassinated. Murder declared act of terrorism. So I'm saying terrorism instead of the bad word on the screen of violent radical extremism. Okay. So that's what I'm referring to. Sir David Amess, a Conservative member of the British Parliament, died from multiple stab wounds on October 15th. He was holding an in-person meeting with his local constituents in Essex when he was attacked with a knife. The suspect, Ali Harbi Ali, a British citizen from a politically prominent Somali family, was immediately taken into custody. On October 16th, Deputy Assistant Commissioner Dean Hayden, the Senior National Coordinator for the Counter-Terrorism Policing, officially declared Sir David Amess's murder as an incident of terrorism. The police believed that Ali was radicalized by al-Shabaab, a jihadist al-Qaeda offshoot in Somalia and Kenya. The Guardian reported that he was previously referred to an anti-terror scheme that provides intensive support for individuals with terrorism vulnerability in 2014 and later discharged. A review of these counterterrorism programs has been issued with the potential for increased police involvement. So, like I said, first of all, like, rest in peace, and I hope. I can't imagine what his family is going through, but I waited a little while to cover this news. As I said, it happened almost 2 weeks ago because I was waiting for more information to come out and to actually get more clarity about the nature of this event. Because a lot of people brought this to my attention right away, but I didn't want to rush in saying, "Oh, this is terrorism," blah blah blah, until like there had been a lot more that had been reported on. So that's why we're covering this a little bit later. This is obviously a horrible thing that happened. So in England, when a MP meets with their constituents, like they call that a surgery for some reason. And so I was watching an interview where several other either current MPs or former MPs were talking about this, and they were saying that this in many ways to them felt like an attack on democracy itself, because a lawmaker's ability and duty to go meet with his constituents in person and hear about their concerns and what matters to them and how the nation is ruled is an attack on the democratic process and the process of the rule of law. I thought that was really interesting. And actually, I want to hear what Armin has to say first. Armin, what do you think about this?
I mean, what do you think I think about this? It's horrible, right? But I just want to also make sure that we're not being used when we're covering this as for people who have a different kind of agenda. I don't know. But if I highlight that it could be used, then I might be... See, this is the problem, right? So this is a horrible crime and it needs to be highlighted. And when you're highlighting it, there are some other people, especially on the far right, that want to use the highlighting of the news for their own agenda, right? But then if you point that out, then it seems like you're deflecting from actually just covering how bad the news is. So I don't know how to meet that balance on talking about things that need to be talked about and also trying to avoid being used like that. But also by highlighting that you don't want to be used like that, then you seem like you're making excuses or you're trying to direct attention away from the crime that is being committed. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of like I don't know where the balance is.
Yeah, it's really difficult. I think this is also compounded by the fact that the suspect is a British Somali. And so when I was watching news coverage about this, like even members of parliament were saying, like, we need to be sure not to stigmatize or hold this against the Somali community in England, because I think they have the exact same concerns that you do. What I thought was really interesting was so the UK has two major counter-terrorism programs, and they're called Prevent and Channel. And I believe Channel is the one that's more intensive. And what's interesting about these programs is that they are supposed to be referral based, and they're not supposed to they're supposed to involve the police to a very minimal extent. So the whole idea is that if you're participating in this program for people who are terrorism vulnerability, that you're not going to face any sort of consequences for this, and you're not going to be criminalized for engaging in this program. It's supposed to get you out of any sort of criminal situations. It's not supposed to actually prosecute you as a criminal or anything. And because of this incident and the fact that he went through one of these programs and was discharged many years later as not a threat, and his case was closed, there have been calls to make sure the police are a lot more involved in these counter-terrorism programs. But there are people that are concerned that that's actually going to make these programs less effective, because the community is not going to trust that they can engage in these kinds of programs without it coming at a serious detriment to themselves. Oh, should I read the comments that are here?
Well, read this one, and then I'm gonna...
Oh, Secular Rarity saying that was spot on, Susanna. Well, thank you. Puya's asking, what was the motive here? What was the reason he was targeted specifically? I actually wasn't able to find a lot of information on why it was Sir David Ames, or Amess specifically. What's interesting, though, is that the suspect actually... he's not from the area. He traveled from London to Essex to go to, I think the area is called Lay-on-Sea, and go do this, strongly suggesting that this was premeditated. And according to witnesses, after he committed the murder, he just waited on scene. He just waited for the police to arrive. He didn't try to run away. And one witness reported that he just looked dead in the eyes, not very reactive, which was
so just which was... no, you finish your thing.
No, I mean, that it's just creepy and very strange.
Yeah. So let's just get... I'm just going to answer a few things. Is Islam... can Islam be blamed for this? Probably. It seems like it's pretty directly related to religion, right? Unless it's proven otherwise. Our socioeconomic factors and migration, immigration, and ostracization and segregation are all still... these could be a factor.
I mean, yes, he was rich. He was from a rich family, apparently. Sorry.
Yeah, I said could be a factor. Okay, so there's multiple elements. Okay, it's so religion, socioeconomic factors, psychological, mental health issues, right? If it is any of these, it doesn't mean that the other ones are not a factor. Sometimes people try to highlight socioeconomic factors as a way to suggest that it's not a religion. Many times it's often a mix of each one, multiple factors, right? So if it is socioeconomics, it doesn't mean it's not religion, right? It could be religion and socioeconomic factor. If it is mental issues, it doesn't mean religion is not a factor. It could be mental issues and religion came together and made this possible, right? So so when that out of the way, is this allowable according to Islam or not? I think maybe yes and no, right? Depends on how you look at it, right? Technically, if you're a Muslim living under non-Islamic law, non-Islamic ruling in the house in the land of non-Muslims, technically you're supposed to follow their rules. So if you want to focus on that, this is technically not Islamic. but it also could be considered Islamic because this guy was actively responsible for making laws. Like this guy could be considered like a person that is at war. Like again, I'm not saying that, okay, but I'm saying that they could describe this as a person that is actively at war with the ummah, at war with the Muslim community. So this was like a um if you describe it like that, maybe you could just they could think about why in Islamically this would be justified, right? So again, it's flexible enough for you to use enough hadith and interpretations to go either way, right? So whether there's no direct answer for whether or not this is allowed by Islam or not. Okay. Just last thing. Do you want to add anything before I just add the last thing?
This made me really sad. Like, I actually kind of cried when I heard about this. I don't know why. I'd never heard about this guy beforehand. It's just really terrible. Yeah, even though there was a lot of stuff I didn't agree with him on politically, like, I just think about what this does to like the local community, obviously his family, like everyone that knew him. There are huge implications in terms of the safeties of MPs around the UK now, and there's long conversations, or this has reignited that whole conversation about the security of lawmakers to just like go about society and live their life, because obviously, and it's just in a nation, we need those who are involved in governance at this high of a level to be safe, so that we can continue the business of government. And I also think a lot about like people from the community of the perpetrator and how this is going to affect their life, and how there's going to be people who collectivize that guilt and put it on them or treat them differently because of the situation. And it's that's not fair either, and that's a horrible implication for British society as well. Yeah, those were my thoughts on it.
That's very well said. Last point I want to just make is that don't use stories and like these to get and come up with a conclusion of what the general trends are like. Whether or not you're like, a lot of people look at stories like this. I think Ian Lecter was doing the same thing. They're like come up with conclusions. They're like, oh my god, crimes rates are going up, or like immigration seems to be having a huge impact on crime rates. You cannot use stories like this to come up with conclusions like that. You know what I mean? Like you have to look at not just statistics, because we are not really good at interpreting statistics, but actual research based on those statistics, right? So do not like think like, oh my god, look at this, this proves to me that crime rates are I'm not saying they're not going high, okay, and I'm not saying immigration is or is not an influence. I'm just saying you can't use anecdotal evidence like this as a way to come up with your conclusions. All right. Anyways, we should move to the next news.
Yes, sir.
Can we clap?
No. But this is going to be a very interesting news that I think you will find very interesting to cover and talk about.
Secularity, you're such a good source of positive energy for us during the stream. Thank you for all.
I know, what a wholesome soul. Secular Rarity is saying, yes, both very good points. This is a terrible thing, but we can't draw big conclusions from this one thing. I agree. What a sweetheart.
Right. Next news.
Yeah. Next news. Police and protesters killed as far-right Islamists protest in Pakistan. On October 22nd, 2 policemen and 2 demonstrators were killed in a recent surge of violence in Pakistan. Members of the banned far-right Islamist political party, Tehreek-e-Labak Pakistan, or TLP, began a march from Lahore towards the nation's capital, Islamabad, demanding that the governor release their leader, Saad Rizvi. Saad Hussein Rizvi, son of the party's radical founder, Khadim Hussein Rizvi, was arrested earlier this year while demanding that Pakistan expel the French ambassador due to France's refusal to prevent the publications of blasphemous cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad. To stop the protesters from leaving Lahore, the Pakistani government has deployed police and paramilitary personnel, disabled mobile phone service, blocked trains, and even went so far as to dig wide trenches into the highway. Reportedly, hundreds of protesters have been injured, and the government has released 350 members connected to the TLP due to negotiations, essentially.
So this is like a conflict between the TLP, which is should I just say the far right Islamists in Pakistan, or TLP? I don't know. From now, I'm going to say TLP. Just please, people understand that TLP is a major force in Pakistan. Like, it's such like it's so the government is afraid of the TLP. Like, they have to appeal to their demands because they could take the government down probably if the army lets them, right? So this is a conflict right now, but the army is not involved, right? This is just the police, the government with versus the TLP. Is that correct? Or is the army involved?
Well, they did say that paramilitary personnel were deployed for crowd control. I don't know what branch or whatever. So
my understanding is that, okay, so there are three forces in Pakistan. One of them is the government, the civilian government. Okay, the other one is the TLP. And the third one is the army, okay? And the TLP and the army are powerful. The civilian government is like stuck in between, and it's kind of like the weakest one, and it has to survive now by making sure that if it says something that these two powerful groups don't like, it could be replaced, right? And I think, but my understanding is that the army sometimes uses the TLP as a way to intimidate the civilian government, right? So Imran Khan is, and I get a lot of people keep saying like, oh my God, why is Imran Khan becoming more and more Islamic? Why is he becoming so obsessed with like Muhammad being the last prophet? And I'm like, I kind of sympathize with him because I kind of feel like if I keep doing, like, the TLP is becoming so much powerful, and I would just would love to be able to keep my head on my shoulders. So I would I don't know if I wouldn't do what Imran Khan is doing. If I was in Pakistan, I probably would be giving into the TLP, given how much of an influence they have. But this is getting scary, guys. Like, the TLP's influence is like the fact that the army is like just using them as a way to like manipulate the government. They will eventually become so powerful that there's no holding them back. And Pakistan has nukes, guys. If the TLP ever takes over Pakistan, this is like a threat to the whole world.
I'm literally so terrified of that.
This is one of the scariest Islamic groups in the world, and they have the highest number of followers compared to the I would argue from the right now, among the radical Islamic groups, the TLP is the one with the most followers, right? I don't know, maybe it's a top. Yeah, it is, right? Ever since, I think so. And these are radical people. Like, these people are like this.
Before they were banned, they were one of the most, one of the top most popular political parties in Punjab in particular. I think that's where they have the strongest base.
Guys, these are like ISIS level people with that kind of mindset, or or Al-Qaeda, what the rest of it is, kind of mindset, right? But the difference is that they are actually a political party, and they have so many followers in Pakistan, and they could take over the government. And imagine people with that mindset having access to nukes. Okay, these are not people who think that you should be executed because drawing cartoons of Muhammad. They would think that you should be executed simply for saying, simply for being Shia. You know what I mean? Like, these are, or for being like, not
denying the finality of the prophet. That would make their brains explode.
That would make, if you say like, oh, I love Muhammad, but maybe he was not the last prophet, that is grounds for execution for you. That's these people, okay? Not like, so, and they are willing to pay the price. Like, these people are not afraid of dying. Like these people are very, very committed to fighting for Islam or the finality of Muhammad being a prophet. Like for that cause, they don't care about they could take down Pakistan with them as long as they're on the right side of Islamic ideology. Like these are radical people. Yeah, these are like insanely radical people, and now they're becoming even more influential in Pakistan. This is really scary. I really think the army in Pakistan is betraying Pakistan by using these people as a weapon, because this could like take over. Yeah. Anyways, go on.
I think what's kind of important to think about and note is a lot of people probably remember 6 months ago we covered similar issues and huge protests by the TLP and violence by the TLP in Pakistan. So this was because 6 months ago there were all these protests surrounding demanding that they expel the French ambassador because they think France as a whole represents insulting the prophet. Which is not, it's like, it's such a collective mindset on steroids, because France says, hey, this is something that is a protected right to do. Now, like, all of France is insulting the prophet, and so we need to boycott France. Saad Rizvi's dad called for France to be, actually, I don't know if I can say it. Let's say he called for the nuclear capability of Pakistan to be used on France. Really, really extreme stuff. And during these protests, it had major fallout. There were police officers that were held hostage. The TLP party got banned as a political group, so they can no longer run as a legitimate political organization, which is a good thing, but they don't need it because they can shake the government on the street. The third thing was that Saad Rizvi, the current leader, was arrested in Pakistan under counter or anti-terrorism acts within the penal code. And then part of the contention about why they're demanding his release now is, I can't remember the exact details off the top of my head, but there was some form of ruling that said that he should be released by now, or that he was supposed to have had hearings by now, but he hasn't because of the insane security risk surrounding him in his situation. They haven't transferred him to do that. And so there is some issue with the judicial process that doesn't seem like it's going quite right, which prompted this whole, these mass protests. And I want to say it's still going on. Like, it's still going. So today, when I was preparing for this news, this video was posted roughly 10 hours ago. And I just want to
There's no call for violence. There's no call for violence in there, right? We don't want to.
No, they're just reporting on the news. Okay. I would just want to cover a little bit of this so you guys can see like it's still happening.
On this broadcast is Major Gaurav Arya for this latest breaking news that is coming in. The massive agitation that is now continues in Islamabad as the TLP stages protest against the Imran Khan government, demanding the expulsion of French ambassador from the country. It's a video that Pakistan has been trying to black out from the rest of the world. Yes, Major Gaurav Arya, help us understand the situation currently in Islamabad.
They have crossed Gujranwala, and now there is a red line that the Pakistani administration said they will draw at Wazirabad. So this red line, and then they said that, we will take a tough line. The problem is that, it has been handed to Punjab Rangers, and the Punjab Rangers, entire Punjab is now under Punjab Rangers, and the Punjab Rangers are officered by the Pakistan Army. And this, you can see lakhs and lakhs of people have joined this march, and they are absolutely hell-bent on getting to Islamabad. And it is not just throwing out the French ambassador. It is also about severing diplomatic relationship with France. So this is what the Tehreek-e-Labbaik Pakistan people are saying, that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, has been insulted by France. And one more thing which I'd like to say, the Pakistani government, Imran Khan's government and his ministers are saying that these are militants, these are terrorists. No, These are common Pakistanis that you see on the street. There are plumbers, there are carpenters, there are roadside mechanics, there are shopkeepers. These are not armed people. Yes, some of them will carry arms because carrying of weapons and arms in Pakistan is very common. But these are essentially workers of a political party who say that, we would like to fight for the honor of Prophet Muhammad, and this is why they want to go to Islamabad.
I thought that was really interesting, talking about the full diplomatic severing of ties with France, because that has really major implications, because Pakistan is part of something called GSP Plus, which is a program with the European Union, which gives them like over $1 billion I think annually over $1 billion in trade agreements and aid as well. And part of this package is the result is that Pakistani goods are able to be much more competitive in the European market because of this agreement. And previously, the European Union or some pan-European governing body, I can't remember exactly, had a hearing and issued statements regarding how the blasphemy situation has gotten so bad in Pakistan that they are considering removing and revoking this package from the country if the Imran Khan, the government, civil society doesn't get a hold on the blasphemy situation much more, because it's starting to get so out of control within the past 2.5 years, if not, well, obviously more, but it's really become heightened and escalated over the past 2 years. And I can't remember exactly, but I remember Imran Khan's responded at the time, basically doubling down, once again, in protection of the Prophet Muhammad. While probably behind closed doors, I would imagine they would be trying to stop that kind of thing, because that amount of aid and income is hugely important.
Yeah, they need it. But okay, here's an interesting thing. A lot of people in the live chat are complaining that you showed a far right BJP propaganda channel from India. Okay, so wait, let me finish. And also this one is saying Republic TV is a right wing stooge. Guys, I'm actually very happy that this was shown, a right wing Indian channel was shown, because he said, when he mentioned Muhammad, he said peace be upon him. Think about the level of submission that these people are being able to demand, that even on a far right BJP channel, you don't dare say Muhammad with the level of fear that these people have managed to put into the hearts of their enemies, that even they are like, I cannot not say peace be upon him after I say Muhammad. I think that's telling. But go on, Susanna, you wanted to say something?
Oh, well, I thought that was regarding the source. I'll be more careful with that in the future. But I think that was pretty good, just saying this is what happened. That wasn't really true. Not really commentary or opinion. No. He even defended the protesters, saying these are regular Pakistanis. The government is trying to label them as terrorists. These are normal people. I was not expecting that. I was are you caping for all these?
The news and the footage was accurate, even though if you didn't like the news. I want to highlight this.
Yes, guys. This really blew my mind.
The government, these Islamists are coming at them, and the government, I don't know if this is what's happening, Susanna. I'm assuming what I'm looking at is that the government is digging a trench in the middle of a goddamn road to stop these people marching at their city. Is that what's happening here?
Yes, apparently it's also one of the oldest roads in Asia.
Oh wow, okay. And they're digging a trench. This is getting like the Khandak, the third battle between Muhammad and his enemies. This is that was the battle of the trench. This is getting similar to that. This is amazing. They're digging up the roads to stop the people from coming at them. Like the government is desperate to stop them, and they can't. And this is what they're resorting to. It's amazing.
It's not just like to stop them on any old march. They're marching to the nation's capital.
Yeah.
Like, I think they're expecting like a January 6th type of situation. Like,
yeah, worse apparently. These are okay. So
Ion's right. Ion is saying they're even putting ship containers to block the protesters. Yeah, so they're taking shipping containers, the big metal ones, and using them as barricades. And there's been a number of, because they've tried to set up these barricades in many different places, but oftentimes they just move them right out of the way and continue. And they're doing this whole like march on foot. Mostly. There are cars for medical assistance or getting people water and food. And so Secular Rarity said, do you think they will fill it with water and crocodiles? Like if they make a moat, just make a moat around the Capitol. Have a little drawbridge.
Okay, liberal Bung Hindu is saying, if TLP comes to power in India, how will it affect India? That's assuming. Assuming there would be any in India and India to affect. You're assuming. I'm kidding. No. Well, what do you mean? How would it affect India? If an Islamist party, most radical kind, takes over Pakistan and has access to nukes,
the only thing they care about is blasphemy. The only thing, that is the foundation of their party, their flagship issue.
I would say they care about taking out India more than they care about blasphemy. Like I would be scared for India. Of course, they would raise conflict to places. You know what? The one reason why I know this. Okay, so here's the thing. I don't think TLP. I don't know if China will allow the TLP to just take over Pakistan. Yeah.
They meant to say if the TLP comes to power in Pakistan, not if they come to power in India.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh.
That's what I'm responding to.
Go ahead.
If they come into power in Pakistan, of course it will be a major conflict. Oh, you misread it. I read it properly. It will completely raise conflict in the region into levels between two nuclear countries, and one of them doesn't seem to be take care about. Okay, so here's the thing: nuclear weapons are deterrents if both sides are interested in living. Okay, and I don't know if TLP cares much about living, so that's why this is going to be this needs to be a concern for the entire planet. Okay, okay. Here's the thing: if the TLP comes into power in Pakistan, the whole planet is at risk, and India is right next to it, right? So if the whole planet is at risk, what do you think the effects is on India, given that they're like right there and they are their number one target? Okay, so the whole world should be afraid, and I think for that reason, the world is not going to let it happen. Like United States is not going to let it happen. I think China is not going to happen. I think that's the reason why United States constantly gives aid to the Pakistan, because they can't have the TLP in power, right? But it's very irresponsible of the Pakistani army and the ISI. They don't want the TLP in power, but the fact that they're using it as a way to intimidate the government in Pakistan, the civilian government, is extremely irresponsible, and it betrays the Pakistani people and the whole world. Like, this is not what, again, they're evil. Okay. One last thing I want to mention, that this whole submission to, this whole idea of like getting rid of France's, ambassador, and also submitting, everybody has to like completely say that Muhammad was no, and it's actually very genius, because this is not about just getting rid of the ambassador. This is not just about accepting Muhammad as the last prophet. This is a symbolism this is a method of showing submission. Do you know what I mean? These are tools. These are not ends by themselves. This is like a constant. It's a measurement of who is submitting to us and who isn't. So it might look like it's just about getting rid of the ambassador or like making sure that everybody understands that Muhammad is the last prophet, but it's more about how display the signs that you're bending the knee to us. That's what it's about. And actually, I think when it comes to dominating ideology, it is a very powerful fear tactic. And we have talked about the use of language, and people even making you say things that are true have been used as a tactic to show that you're submitting. Right? This is a power problem some of us had with the way Black Lives Matter was being used by some people, not by everybody, because even though we agree and we want to say it, in some places it was being used as a way for you to show that submission. Now this is that 100 times worse or 1,000,000 times worse. Like this is like, anyways. But you understand what I'm saying as a as a submission tactic? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point. Actually, I'm going to think about that some more.
Okay. Thank you.
Like, oh.
All right. Thank you, sis. You make, guys, from all the people that compliment me, the one that I cared about the most is Susanna's. When Susanna acknowledges that I said something intelligent, it just makes my day. It's the best. Okay. Anyways,
other people, they're just here to witness.
No. I like their compliments. It's just that Susanna is really smart. So if somebody that's smart and intelligent thinks I'm smart, then I must be doing something right. Anyways, can I clap for the next news?
Yeah.
Next
news. Indian beauty ad pulled from TV due to showing lesbian couple. An advertisement for Femme Creme Bleach, a popular skin whitening product in India, was recently removed from social media platforms after it sparked controversy over a display of a lesbian couple engaging in a Hindu ritual. The advertisement showed a same-sex couple celebrating Charwa Chath, a festival for married Hindu women in which they fast to ensure the safety and long lives of their husbands. The ad was taken down after Narottam Mishra, the Home Minister of Madhya Pradesh, India, threatened to take legal action against the manufacturing company if the ad was not removed. Mishra criticized the ad, fearing that that allowing it could lead to more portrayals of objectionable content, such as a commercial showing, quote, two men getting married. On October 25th, Dabur India apologized via Twitter and withdrew the commercial, stating, "We unconditionally apologize for unintentionally hurting people's sentiments."
Why would they apologize for this? Like, are they saying that? So they're admitting that there's something wrong with the lesbian couple?
Yeah.
Is that what they're saying? Okay.
So,
is this the ad?
Yes.
Okay, go. Can I play? Okay, I'm gonna.
Yeah, it'll take you to Twitter if you click on it.
Okay, you talk while I figure this out.
I thought this was interesting. Well, there's so many different angles to it. Okay, first of all, this guy just like clutching his pearls over seeing two women do this traditional ceremony that's supposed to be for women. And second of all, there was a lot of people from the LGBTQ community that heavily criticized this ad to begin with. They're like, actually, we don't like this ad either. So
why?
Because here you can see the ad, and it's two women and they're like getting ready, and in the beginning you see the girl painting this cream on the face of the other girl, and this cream is skin bleaching cream. And it's supposed to make her lighter and not make her look dark, and literally bleach the skin to remove pigmentation from it. And then as the ad comes on, later you see this woman come in and she gives them some gifts and talks to them. And then when the moon comes out, that's when the fast ends, and they have like these little sieves with a candle in them. I'm not exactly sure what that represents, but basically here under the moon, it's where it's revealed that these two women aren't just any women getting ready for this ceremony. They're a couple, and they drink the tea together. And then there's kind of like a joke where one of them makes an eye movement supposed to be like, oh, you're supposed to kneel to my feet now, because that's like part of it. And they're like, no, and then they just drink it together. But a lot of people were like, oh, haha, like love is love, but only if your skin is light. What kind of a BS message is this?
Like, wait, how's it? I don't get it. Why love is love? Okay, so I mean, it's okay if you want.
Because
I have a problem. Yeah, go on.
Well, it's a really colorist attitude, meaning like it's reflective of a beauty standard that says that dark skin is ugly and undesirable. And
but
there
do
was
they say
specific.
Yeah, go on.
No, but like you wouldn't buy this product if you believed otherwise. Why would you buy a beauty product to make your skin lighter if you thought that how it is originally was undesirable?
Okay. Here's my hot take, and this might get me canceled. Okay.
Oh Jesus!
I think
I'm not ready for this.
Okay, it's not that bad. Chill. It's not that bad. I'm kidding. I'm exaggerating of how bad it is. Okay. I think that the ads that I have a problem with when it comes to colorism is the ones that make it seem like the darker skin people are less attractive. You know what I mean? Like the ones in Thailand with somebody with the black skin, and all of a sudden they wash the, they put them in a washing machine and they come out like white skin and beautiful, and they see like, you know what I mean? Those are the ads that I have a problem with, right? I don't think I have a problem with somebody wanting to have their skin lighter, just in the same way that I don't have a problem with somebody wanting their skin darker, right? Like, for example, I don't think if somebody gets a tan, they are inherently saying that people with lighter skin are ugly. Do you know what I mean? And I think like if somebody wants to have their skin lighter, I don't think that by itself is suggesting that people with darker skin are uglier. The ads that are problematic are the ones that are directly suggesting that. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you used to be ugly because you were darker, and now you're not ugly because you're lighter, right? But I think like you should be able to sell products that makes your skin lighter and sell products that makes your skin darker, and you could pick what you prefer. Like we should be able to, like, you know what, I want to get a tan. I want to get like those spray tans, right? I think, can you not like advertise a product that makes your skin lighter, because that would be colorism? I think it's about the way it's done, right? You know, the ads that I'm talking about, them, that actually suggest that, you had a problem because you used to be darker skin and now you don't. Those are bad. But this, I don't think this is bad. I think how are you supposed to market a product that makes your skin lighter then? Like, what are you supposed to do? I don't understand.
Well, I'm just generally opposed to skin lightening products, period.
Why?
So I think it's like reflective of an attitude that's been passed down over hundreds of centuries, which maybe not hundreds of centuries, but many centuries. It's really harmful. They're also really not good for you. People hurt themselves with these products. And also, the result is, when you see the results of some skin bleachings, it's just so bad. And it makes me sad that someone would do something so harmful to themselves over this attitude that's really prevalent in many different countries.
I think the attitude, I think for many people, you're right. The problem is that attitude, and it is colorism, and it is lack of self-confidence, and it's like beauty standards that are unreasonable and makes no sense. But I think I think for some people, it might not be that, right? For some people, they might genuinely think like they would look a little bit better two shades darker or 2 shades lighter. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's for some people, it's not about this whole culture of colorism, this history, their societal expectations. They just think like a different color looks better on them, right? I mean, you don't think like people, like, do you think if somebody tells me that, Armin, you look better when you get a tan, right? Like when you, like, some people tell me that I'm too white and I need to go get some sun and I look better when I get a little bit. I get so many comments like that. So many people tell me that when I get just a little bit darker, I look a lot better. I get that comment, right? The reason why we don't have an issue with that is because there's no history of colorism behind that. That is genuinely just about aesthetics, genuinely just about what you think looks better on you, right? But when it comes to getting a little bit lighter, that comes at the back of a history of bigotry, colorism, cultural expectations, and that's why we have a problem with that, and it's justifiably so. But we also have to acknowledge that it is possible, hypothetically, it is possible for some people to have a relationship with lighter skin without that baggage of that bigotry and colorism in a way that some people have that with getting a darker skin. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that the problem that we need to address is not the tools with which you use to make yourself look the way you want. The thing that we need to address is that underlying belief and that colorism or that culture. That's what needs to be addressed.
Well, the tools also need to be addressed because they can be very harmful, including tools to get darker. You can have extremely increased risks of skin cancers. But
listen to what you're saying. It can be harmful, which suggests that it also can be not harmful. Like, obviously, if this is a harmful product, that's a different topic, and that's another thing that needs to be addressed. But I'm just saying, inherently, you wanting to be darker or lighter, inherently itself is not a bad thing. Is either health-wise it's a problem, or either increasing that cultural baggage of all that ugly history, it's a problem. But if we didn't have those things, inherently, if you said, like, I like it when I look darker a little bit, like, or lighter a little bit, that by itself is not the problem. Anyways, that's what I think.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
Guys, I could. Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm maybe sensitive to this because I know it's such a legitimate and like deep source of like real self-hate to like millions of people, right? And it has major implications in the real world. So I don't like to see products that like take advantage and make money off of that kind of thing.
You're saying that I see your point. You're saying, like, even if this could be done in a not harmful way, these products are taking advantage. Like, they would have to take advantage of a design of colorism and the fact that there's a major market for this, right? Yeah, I agree. But I think the way and again, maybe that's why this backlash by the LGBT community, maybe even though I could see how this can be enjoyed in a healthy way, whether you want to be darker or lighter, maybe these backlashes are a good thing because there's a bigger evil that is being tackled here, and it's good that people are bringing attention to it, even though maybe what I'm concerned about is such a minor thing compared to the evil that we're dealing with, that it's not, what I'm saying is not even relevant. Yeah, actually, that makes sense. Anyways,
it was interesting. The LGBT activists in India were saying that for them, like they don't appreciate like having LGBT couples celebrated or normalized in this way, when they were talking about how particularly people from the Dalit LGBT community have been such a huge force in propelling the movement in India. And for those who don't know, Dalit refers to the caste system in India, which ranks people according to the certain strata of society that they were born into. But Dalits are so low that they're outside of the caste system. And traditionally, historically, they've had much darker skin than upper caste individuals. So to them, it felt like a particular slap in the face given that history.
I think I figured it out. I think the only responsible way for you to ever market a product that makes you lighter is for you to also have a product that makes you darker, and you have to advertise them side by side. Like, you can't like, I think if you want to be responsible with it, you could be like, look, we have products that makes you lighter, and also we have products that makes you beautifully darker. You know what I mean? Something like that. You know what I mean? Like, oh, look at. So I think that would be the responsible way to promote any I don't know.
I think I like that idea. I think I agree with you. I think that might be the right way to do it if you had to do it. What if it just shows like one person like going back and forth? Like
no, but
look at that might be like look at those. Like they're all stripy.
Overuse our products as much as you want. Keep checking so that we make more money. Like keep trying different shades. Yes. Anyways, can we clap for the next news?
I don't think we should.
Next news.
Activist gets death threats after protesting the Muslim call to prayer. So you guys probably remember last week we talked about how in the German city of Cologne, they have allowed the mosque to be broadcasted. And so this is kind of fallout from that. In mid-October, Nina Ahadi, the founder of the Central Council of Ex-Muslims, and a number of other ex-Muslims and their supporters gathered in front of the Cologne Central Mosque to protest the broadcasting of the Azan, or the Muslim call to prayer. Based on a new law, all 35 mosques in Cologne are permitted to broadcast their call to prayer every Friday from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. for up to 5 minutes. The group's protest was met with harsh verbal attacks. Police were stationed in the area to stop any potentially violent response. After the protest, Ahadi began receiving threats online, intensifying after the Persian Arabic language news coverage of the protest aired. One threat claimed that they had identified her address, and Ahadi has since been placed under police protection. She stated that, quote, "The fight against the Azan is a fight against the Islamist movement and a defense of secular spaces." Ahadi plans to continue her protest by beginning a petition against the public broadcast of the Muslim call to prayer.
This is so insane, and that this is becoming a thing in Germany. I'm so glad. I'm so grateful for, the Central Council of Ex-Muslims and Mina for protesting against this, because this is like such a violation of secularism for you to be able to force your religion on an entire neighborhood without their consent.
An entire city.
What are your thoughts? Entire city, yeah.
I believe every mosque in Cologne, or at least 35 of them. And apparently, actually, I'm not sure if that's true, so I'm not going to say it. So when they were actually having this protest, like I said, there were about like 30 people who, many of whom were ex-Muslims or their supporters, or other people who like to defend secularism and or generally do not appreciate the Muslim call of prayer being broadcasted in their neighborhood. And reportedly, they protested right outside the mosque. So they had several interactions with people coming and leaving from the mosque, and apparently some of them were a bit heated. And then later, when everyone was leaving, they realized that they actually were a bit unsafe when they were leaving. So they had to make sure to leave individually and like wait in cars. And reportedly, a journalist for DW News, which is a publicly funded broadcast service in Germany, was attacked while trying to leave the protest or after the protest. And so, they experienced some threats in person, but then it was afterwards where things got really bad. Like, your last day will come, you whore will burn in hell. And she was talking to her friends, and they were like, you have to talk to the police. And at first she called the police, and at first they were like, I'm, come into the office or come into our station. And then after some time, they're like, actually, no, we're coming to you. And since then, she has cars that patrol her neighborhood, and she has someone with her when she wants to leave the house, which is really concerning. She said that what was new this time because being a prominent ex-Muslim in Germany does come with, a fair amount of attention on you. What was new this time is she was experiencing a wealth, like much more attacks in Turkish than she had received before, which was concerning because Turkey has growing influence in Germany in many different ways. And
most of the mosques in Germany are Turkish, for people who don't know. But yeah, go on.
Mm-hmm. So if there are people who are interested in Mina and her issue, actually, let me find the link really quickly. The Council for Ex-Muslims of Britain, they have created a petition that you can sign in solidarity with Mina Ahadi and against the murder threats that she's experiencing from Islamists. Let me put in the live chat right now. Petition for so you guys can check that out and learn more information if you're curious. She gave a statement to CEMB about this issue, saying, quote, "The fight against the Azan is a fight against the Islamist movement and a defense of secular spaces. It is not against religious freedom. People have a right to religion, but the Azan, which is intrinsically linked to Islamist suppression in places like Iran, cannot be allowed to occupy the public space."
Okay, the only thing I would change about that, I don't want to be picky because I appreciate everything Mina does and her work, but I wouldn't say the fight against the Azan. I would say the fight against the Azan in public places. So I would rephrase that. Say the fight against the Azan, because we are and we do defend, I am against the Azan and everything Islamic, but we do support Muslims' rights to have the Adhan. So we're not fighting the Adhan. We're fighting the Adhan being imposed upon other people. So that I would rephrase the first part, but other than that, I don't. Yeah.
So can you show that social media post that I gave you to display, please?
There we go.
Cool.
Hey, so, Rana.
Yeah, here you can see Rana. So for those who don't know, Rana is actually a woman who Atheist Republic helped escape Saudi Arabia, and she now lives in Germany. And she actually went on to found her own organization that fights for atheist refugees with a specialty with Saudi Arabia, just called Atheist Refugees. Go check them out. But she went to this protest. And so here you can see her with their big sign that shows a picture of the Central Mosque. And she had, in the beginning, she was holding up a sign that had like a picture of the mayor of Cologne, who was saying that this ordinance was, all about diversity in Germany.
That's Mina, I think.
Yeah. And at the end, she's speaking in German, so I don't think we should play it. But you can see Mina giving one of her speeches and talking to the crowd about the issue and speaking about why they protest it.
Right.
So yeah, I guess solidarity with Mina and nothing but thanks and gratitudes towards her organizing stuff like this and continuing to fight for secular spaces.
My suggestion is when we're fighting for secularism, I think we should focus on secularism rather than saying how bad, because for example, Mina is Iranian, Rana is well, she lived in Saudi, but she's like Syrian, I think, right? But you could keep highlighting the fact about how bad Islam is, and we as ex-Muslims living in, I don't know, Germany or Canada or whatever, this is a horrible ideology, and why this is being why is this being taught here? This shouldn't belong in a German society. But I don't think that should be your highlight. I think your highlight should be secularism. It doesn't really even matter how bad Islam is. It's a religion, and it shouldn't be imposed on people, right? This is that should be your main argument, because if you keep highlighting how bad Islam is, it seems like you're fighting for a principle that is not really, what is being defended here. Like it might look like if this is more about your personal anti-Islam views rather than fighting for a principle that needs defending. If you focus on the secularism aspect, I think you will get more of your arguments would be a lot better received. And to that point, you want to say something?
Well, I think you're very true. Like, I think you're very right. Like, that universalizes it. And to that point, Mia says that she actually opposes church bells as well.
That's
so she's completely consistent.
Amazing.
With one thing that they also talked about that I haven't mentioned yet is one reason why they're opposing it, because they were saying that for many people who have bad histories with Islam, or this has infected their life in a really negative way, the azan can be very re-traumatizing in many ways to a lot of people. It can remind them of some of the most hard and horrific times in their life. And so they're saying, as citizens of this city, we don't like being exposed to this continually in the public space, and we should prevent it.
I don't think that's a good argument. I mean, it is true for many people, but it's not enough people. I don't think that's the reason why we're against this. I don't think we should make this, well, we're so traumatized by the azan that's why. I mean, the people are like, okay, well then grow up and don't get it. That's what people get. It's just a noise. Why are you being traumatized? I'm not saying people don't get traumatized, because people have had really bad experiences with Islam, but I think even our problem is that even if Islam was not bad, okay, even if the azan was not traumatizing, this is setting a precedent on what people being able to impose their ideology on other people. This needs to be stopped for other reasons, you know what I mean? And for that reason, we're against church, because for example, in the live chat, people are saying, is church bells allowed? And the defense to that is that church bells aren't annoying. Guys, it doesn't matter, okay? Honestly, the azan, once you get over the traumatizing experience of azan, if you hear it for the first time without the background experience that you have with Islam, the azan could be extremely beautiful, okay? Church bells could be beautiful to listen to, and the azan could be beautiful to listen to, but these are religions, and you don't get to just impose them on people who don't want them. You shouldn't be able to do that, okay? So yes, church bells should be stopped as well, okay? Church bells should be stopped unless everybody agrees that this is not religious, or azan becomes secularized and everybody accepts that, okay, fine, we want it. But I don't think they want. I think for the sake of secular, even if there are a minority, a group of people that be like, hey, I'm not a Christian, I don't appreciate hearing your church bells. I think here's the thing. I would defend Muslims, okay? If a Muslim comes and says, you know what, the church bells are beautiful, but they're Christians, and I'm a Muslim, and I don't appreciate hearing your Christian propaganda. Well, I want it to stop. Why is this being imposed on me? You know what? That Muslim would be right. I would be defending that Muslim. You can't do that. You can't impose your Christian church bells on a Muslim that is living in Germany. So yeah, end the church bells, or make them loud enough only for the people in the church to be able to hear it. And also the azan. And the azan, and just make it loud enough for only the people in the mosque could hear, right? Is this too much to ask? I mean, we all have apps, and everybody has their phone. They can listen to the azan. Their apps reminds you when the call to prayer is. What is actually, here's another point. What is the point of this? Because we know that you don't need a reminder of the azan to call to prayer. We know that every Muslim can listen to the azan anytime they want on their phone. So what's the point of this? This is the point of church bells and azans and everything like that, is to claim a territory, okay? And that's why these things need to be stopped. This is you getting others to submit, whatever religion it is. And I think the best way to respond to that is the Satanic Temple. Do we have the Satanic Temple in Germany? Because
there's got to be something equivalent.
They need to have something equivalent. Do they have? What is their call to prayer? Do they have a screaming goat sound of it, or Or do they have like the cries of a virgin being sacrificed? I don't know. What do they have? Whatever they have,
it's just the sound of an abortion.
Whatever the satanic temple has, they need to come out in Germany and be like, hey, I heard like religions get to just put things on loudspeakers. We want, and I want to see what would the Muslim community say when the same laws that makes them allowed to play the azan in a neighborhood, when their children are now have to be exposed to listening to something satanic. Okay, I wonder how much they would like that. Something satanic needs to be played over the loudspeakers in Muslim neighborhoods, and they were like, "This is what you ask for." And I can tell you, Christians and Muslims, they start appreciating secularism so fast. They're like,
so true.
They line up. They're like, secularism, please give us secularism as soon as you expose them to anything satanic. So Satanic Temple, Germany, do it. Make it happen.
This is from the devil. They're coming for our children. Okay, we take it back. It's just like, I don't know what it would be. I want it to be something really good. It has to be like, Hail Satan, there is no God.
There's no
Hail
satanic
Satan,
people.
hail yourself.
No, there are satanic prayers. I think you could just play that.
Oh, you're right.
There are satanic prayers. Just put those on loudspeaker. Is Germany going to stop that? Is Germany's government going to stop that? Guys, make that happen. Germany, Satanists in Germany. Come on, please. This is a thing. Do it. Do your job.
I know. I need to find this.
Don't play it. It might be copyrighted. There are some really good ones.
All right. I was Googling. The first thing I see is a story from 2008. In Alaska, a satanic temple member who won the right to open a regional Alaska government meeting declared "Hail Satan" during her first invocation, prompting about a dozen officials and attendees to walk out.
Perfect.
That's Beautiful. A perfect instance. It's like, you're allowed to open a government meeting with prayer. I'm going to go pray to Satan.
You want religion in politics? You want religion in schools? You want religions on loudspeakers in neighborhoods? You got it. It needs to. You have to play. It has to be. If it's fair for Islam, it's fair for the Satanic Temple.
Ooh,
guys, this is the most. What?
That which will not bend must break, and that which can be destroyed by truth should never be spared as demise. It is done. Hail Satan.
Perfect. Beautiful. I never enjoyed a prayer.
That's good.
That is great. Yeah. All right. Somebody do that. All right. Hail Satan. Hey, guys, everybody in the live chat, give us a Hail Satan before we move to the next.
Or you can also hail yourself. Hail me.
Yeah, go like that. Come on, y'all. That's all it takes to make you. Yeah, guys, but I really think, guys, this is not a joke. I really think this has to happen. I really think we need to have the Satanic Temple playing some Satanic Temple and loudspeakers in Germany. Oh, look at this. We got Hail Satan, Hail Satan. Oh my God, you guys responded. Thank you. Oh, wow. Okay. Cool. All right. Can we clap for the next news?
Let's clap because it's not the worst thing we've talked about this week. How about that?
That's good. Next news.
Next news. Pakistan orders TV dramas to censor hug and kiss scenes. So this week in religious traditionalism film censorship, it's just all not okay. On October 22nd, Mohammed Tahir, the Director General of the Pakistan Electronic Media Regulatory Authority, or PEMRA for short, ordered local TV channels in Pakistan to censor objectionable content in their television dramas. The objectionable contents refers to scenes that include, quote, indecent dressing, caressing, bed scenes and gestures, sensitive or controversial plots, even when displaying married couples. The purpose of this order is to reportedly to protect the viewers from content that violates, quote, standards of decency. The decision received widespread criticism online. Rima Omar, a Pakistan-based human rights lawyer, responded in a tweet saying, "Pemra finally got something right. Intimacy and affection between married couples isn't true depiction of Pakistani society and must not be glamorized. Our culture is control, abuse, and violence, with which we must jealously guard against imposition of such alien values." So that was, she fired some shots back at Pakistani conservatism right there. Armin?
Do you know which country is the #1 consumer of PORN, adult videos?
Well, I'm going to take an educated guess right now using my powers of deduction. And I'm going to gather, I'm going to reckon that it's Pakistan.
Would
I be correct?
Is Pakistan. Yes, you'd be correct. I don't know if you like making people not kiss each other on TV is going to have much of an impact, given that the #1 consumer of, like, yeah, okay. So good luck with that, I guess, Pakistan.
Yeah. I want to read a little. Oh, damn. I want to read a little bit from this order that was issued. So, advice regarding caress/hug scenes in dramas. In continuation to earlier directions of the authority issued from time to time, wherein it was conveyed that satellite TV channels are indulged in airing objectionable dramas/content based on indecent dressing, caressing, bed scenes, and gestures, sensitive/controversial plots, and unnecessary detailing of events, which are highly disturbing, distressing for the viewers, and against the commonly accepted standards of decency. On the prevalent trends in Pakistani drama industry, Pemra is not only receiving numerous complaints from general public on Pakistan Citizen Portal and Pemra Complaints Call Center and feedback system, but also criticized on social media and WhatsApp groups. A considerable stratum of society believes that dramas are not depicting true picture of Pakistani society. Hugs, caress scenes, extramarital relations, vulgar/bold dressing, bed scenes, and intimacy of married couples are being glamorized in utter disregard to the Islamic teachings and culture of Pakistani society. All satellite TV channels are hereby directed to refrain from airing such caress/hug scenes in dramas and properly review the content of dramas through in-house monitoring committee. Yada yada. So, hugging and kissing, ew. I think that it just shows how, one, they sound like such wimps, saying like, we're getting all these calls and people are complaining so much and they're criticizing us on social media and WhatsApp. Like, we have to ban this. Like, it was just like, what? That's all it takes is some like people talking about it and complaining about it on social media. You can do that about literally anything. You can find that about everything. But it speaks to an appeal to deepening conservatism. If showing just intimacy between a married couple is now something that is too indecent and highly disturbing, distressing for viewers. Honestly, it's a little hard for me to believe. Like, I don't know, Armin, what is your opinion on this and the attitudes surrounding this?
Well, I mean, I wanted to, given that they're so sensitive about hugging and kissing, I wanted to show you the top searches of what people search for in Pakistan when they're looking for adult videos. But but it was more than I could even, it was worse than I even imagined. So I'm not going to be able to.
Wait, I'm going to go Google.
Okay, so so you figure, oh, kissing and hugging, and then go look up what they actually search. What are the things that they're into? I am very much for sex positivity and all, but some of the things that people are into might suggest that maybe they're not that healthy when they're, I don't know, but I don't want to be judgmental about what people are into, actually. Never mind. But maybe one reason why so many people are obsessed with these things that they're obsessed with when they're like when they're consuming adult videos is because they don't get a healthy way to express themselves in Pakistan. Again, I'm not an expert, so maybe I'm just guessing and it's wrong. But maybe what people are frustrated and they're like sex negative, and they're also depressed and desperate. Maybe because you're not giving people an outlet, so much so that they can't even watch two people hugging on goddamn TV. Like maybe that would cause like some really unhealthy attitudes and the level of desperation that is going to come and express itself at some point in some very unhealthy and harmful ways.
It already does.
Yeah. So yeah.
I want people to rewind a little bit and watch my facial reaction as I found the list of the top searches. If you rewind and see me go, that's how you know I just read it. The list. I was like, oh my
god. Yeah, and these people are worried like, whoa, kissing and hugging.
Caressing.
We can't let our young people
a married couple caressing.
Like, imagine the young Pakistani people who get this news and they're like, oh my god, if they see my search history, like these people, like, we can't let our young people get corrupted by seeing a married couple caressing each other. Meanwhile, young people in Pakistan
like this will knock their socks off. I think
okay.
I don't know. I guess maybe I can conceptualize this better because I know when did it air? The Dick Van Dyke Show. In the Dick Van Dyke Show, it's very famous for showing the married couple in separate beds. Like, they're a married couple, they live together, they have children, but when it shows them in their bedroom, they're sleeping separately in different beds. And that was obviously a sign of the social conservatism. Like, you're not even allowed to show a married couple in the bed that they share together, as millions of married couples do. So I guess it's not okay. It looks like it was through the 60s. Okay, so as recently as the 60s. But still, I mean, like, extramarital affairs, like indecent dressing, I'm curious about what they would define that as. Like, that was kind of predictable. But or I loved how the order said, like, they can't have like unnecessary detail, like when dramas like can't show what's happening, they have to use implication and innuendo to talk about what's going on because of orders like this where they literally can't show what happened, so they have to intimate it. Like, it's too much detail, sir. How vulgar.
I consider this a win. I want, like, maybe eventually internet will become so easily accessible because of like satellite internet as well. Just destroy your own movie industry so that you just do it. Yeah, I mean, I feel sorry for people who work in the movie industry in Pakistan, but this is what's needed for Pakistan, for the next generation of Pakistani to rely on other sources of, like, foreign sources of culture, music, movies, TV series, video games, of entertainment. And by getting their information and their entertainment from somewhere else, I think the influence of the norms outside of Pakistan eventually will save Pakistan, because again, once you keep limiting what people are exposed to, then people are going to find out how to get all their information and entertainment from somewhere else, and then in the little control that you thought that you're increasing, you're going to lose it completely, because you're just making sure if you want people to rely on your own country, you would have to compete, in producing better culture, better entertainment, better values, better sources of information. You're not going to get anywhere by limiting people on what they get to see. You're only going to hasten your own demise and your own control that you have.
You're going to lead to a situation where, do you remember that Pakistani, I can't remember what he did. I think he was involved in missile defense, and he sold off military secrets because the Indian government catfished him with nude photos.
Literally,
this is where it leads you. Men will sell away their country for the poon, okay? Just let them look.
Wait. This was the Indian government stole state secrets, military state secrets from Pakistan using nudes.
Yeah, right? I think I'm trying to remember it. Yeah, that's what happened.
Yes. You know what this means? The country that was number one in demanding bobs and vagines provided bobs and vagines in exchange for military secrets.
That's exactly what you said when we talked about this the first time.
Wait, maybe all this time, that's why they wanted bobs and vagines. It wasn't for themselves. It was for espionage. It was for stealing.
Yes.
Okay, this is good. Okay, good.
That was AGA saying will sell military secrets for pictures of Punani.
Yeah. This tactic is only going to work more given the way that they're going. Yeah. Like this is the most beautiful thing India has ever done. Based India. I support this. Anyway,
that story is still so legendary. Like it's going to stay in my mind forever.
But did he end up getting the news that he wanted?
I can't remember. I think they were like catfishing him. I think if I remember correctly, it was a honeypot. So they were pretending like this was a real girl. And I think maybe he started to catch on to it because like there was inconsistencies with the photos or something. Like,
okay, here's an interesting thing.
This isn't the same girl.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Okay, here's an interesting thing. The level of desperation in that story was so high because I remember that the promise was not that I will meet with you and that I will do like sexual favors for you. The promise of that story was that you just get pictures. Like usually when you have a honeypot situation and spies and stuff and somebody's using an attractive lady it's like you get an attractive lady and they meet with the person, with the target, and then they're like seduce the man, and then that's the way it works. But these people are so desperate that you don't need to go that far. You just get. I mean, I don't understand. Like, aren't there already pictures online? But go on.
I was looking for the news to remind myself, and the title is killing me. So, India Today. This is the best headline.
Wait, share it. No, don't.
Wait. Greed for nudes made me betray my country. Oh, no, it was the reverse. It was an Indian man betraying India for Pakistan. Greed for nudes made me betray my country to ISI.
Oh, it was the reverse. Oh, wow. Wow. Okay, I have to support Pakistan. I hate to do this. This is the most base thing Pakistan has ever done. God damn it. Okay, so so the story was that he wanted bobs and vagines. It wasn't that. Oh, yes. Okay. Oh, people are like.
What was so funny was when that happened, people were making the funniest memes about it. I remember people making like fake movie posters about this guy and his search for nudes.
Okay. India, you need to do that back to Pakistan. India, you need to use the same strategy. Like, I would assume that people in Pakistan would be more desperate than people in India. I mean, you wouldn't get that impression given how many requests you get for bobs and vagines, right? But I would assume that that's even more of a desperation in Pakistan. So I think the same tactic could be used. You have to do an owner reverse card in this.
Well, I know that India, with the new IT laws that came through in earlier 2021, there's been a lot more restrictions on adult content, and so there's a higher market now than ever for selling off state secrets.
Wouldn't we live in a much more peaceful world if this is all we did in fighting? You know, if this was all there was to fight, like instead of like fighting each other in a battlefield and sending like missiles,
military technology is just trying to produce the best lewd content, like a science.
Hey,
like, he'll spill everything now.
Wait, if that was the competition, then Atheist Republic will become the world's only superpower. That's our plan. Yeah.
True.
Anyways, we should move on.
We just revealed it all along. We got you this far to reveal it just now.
All right. Can we clap for the next news?
Let's clap because we're going to talk about some juicy stuff, not because it's something we really support.
Wait, is this picture in the cover a real picture? They actually shook hands?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Next news.
Leaked documents show Facebook's role in hate speech in India. So this will be about the Facebook whistleblower. The controversy surrounding the jarring information gleaned from documents recently revealed by the Facebook whistleblower has far-reaching consequences that extend well beyond the United States. Frances Hagen, the Facebook data scientist turned whistleblower, presented a wealth of internal documentation to the United States Securities and Exchange Commission with the hope of changing the company's ways. The documents demonstrated Facebook's attempts to curb hate speech and misinformation not only failed in the United States, but that the company also provided severely ineffective moderation in their Indian market. A report contained in the leaked documents entitled "An Indian Test User's Descent into a Sea of Polarizing Nationalistic Messages" chronicled the experience of a test user's account created in India. For the 3 weeks in which the test account was kept active, India was shocked by a militant attack in the disputed Kashmir region, which killed over 40 Indian soldiers. The report describes the test account's newsfeed as, quote, a near constant barrage of polarizing nationalistic content, misinformation, violence, and gore. The documents also showed that Facebook is plagued by increasing anti-Muslim propaganda spread by extreme Hindu groups.
Wait, so how does this work? How they're responsible for hate speech in India?
So there's so many different aspects to it. So one aspect is the issue of how the algorithm can take you down a very nasty route, but that isn't exclusive to India, right? There's been a lot of media coverage about how the recommended feature, if just the content that the algorithm is recommending to you without you actually going to seek everything out, can very easily lead you down the path of the Q people. I'm not going to say the real word because of the algorithm, but I think you guys all know what I'm talking about. The Q crazies. So same issue happens in India. So with this test account, one thing that they did, like I said, is they started an account in India, and you don't actually go look for any likes. You just like what is automatically recommended to you. And it will take you down a wormhole that gets increasingly more radical because Facebook has serious flaws in these forms of the algorithms. Another aspect in which they are responsible for hate speech in India is something we've talked a lot about before, which is the problem that Facebook has with aligning with the ruling party and picking their employees for the company at a senior level and their advisors from the ruling party, making it extremely less likely that they're just pulling from the powerful, right? So people from
that's how our page got banned in India.
Yes. As a matter of fact, the previous I can look it up in a second, but this woman who had a very senior position in Facebook was a supporter of the BJP and well known for that, and accused of making anti-Muslim statements on her own personal Facebook herself.
Is she still working there?
This report by the AP made it sound like she's since left.
Can we get access back to India back, please? Thank you very much. Guys, for people who don't know what we're talking about, our Facebook page is the world's largest atheist page, right? With more than 2,400,000 followers. But at least 300,000 of that was from India. And the Indian government basically made Facebook cut access. Like, our page is completely locked in India. Like, we just lost contact with 300,000 of our followers in India. And they can't, unless they use a VPN, they can't see our page. And and also our website has been also blocked by a lot of ISPs in India as well. So, and guys, this is amazing because this is the Indian government forcing Facebook to specifically ban our page in India. So our page is not banned, which is at Facebook's acknowledgement that we didn't do anything wrong, or because if we did something wrong, the page would be banned. But no, they just blocked us in India at the request of the government, which is probably the reason is all these people on Facebook, India, working so closely with the BJP. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, so that relationship with the BJP is really well documented. There's been huge exposés by Times Magazine and the Wall Street Journal about the influence of the BJP in India, including one thing that this really well-written and lengthy article by the AP talks about. Oh yeah, here's a picture of Modi and Zuckerberg this is real.
What the hell?
This is how close they are.
I don't think Zuckerberg is consenting to this.
Modi G is giving him a big old hug.
I think this is like an attack. This is yeah. I mean, I would ask Zuckerberg to blink twice, but I don't think he's capable of doing that. But anyways, go on.
So this article also really details how there's been instances where Facebook is failing to act when they know something is wrong in specific cases that have to do with Hindu extremist organizations. So there's been these documents revealed that there have been lengthy discussions within Facebook talking about how they should label the RSS a dangerous group, which would subject them to suspension and other sanctions from the website. For those who are not familiar, RSS is a Hindu militant group that supports the ruling party. They are like little fascists. And so they, to this day, as of the reporting of this big AP article, they still have not, it has not been revealed whether the company has marked any Hindu nationalist group, designated them as dangerous. There's been many instances where BJP party leaders have said violent things about the Muslim community, and it prompted violence within hours. And it took way too long for Facebook to remove that content that directly incited violence. That's another huge issue. But another thing that is very specific to Facebook is in regard to their language moderation. So a large part of the problem is that, yes, they do have language moderation in Hindi and Bengali. Well, one, India has, I don't even know how many languages. They have a ton of languages, but those are really big ones. They are failing to adequately staff those operations so that way too small of a percentage of the hateful content is actually being fact-checked. The fact-checking was a big one. Or just reviewed and removed if it is found to be hateful. So they need to really strengthen their non-English speaking services to help prevent some of this problem. And they didn't even bring Bengali into the language moderation or, non-English language moderation services or whatever until 2020. So this is a huge, huge weakness in their entire system. Because even if you build a whole system that theoretically works well, it obviously doesn't work well in the United States, but let's pretend that it did. The fact that they don't actually even have it to service the great diversity of Indian languages is automatically going to exacerbate the problem. It's a huge hole in their entire campaign and attempt to prevent this hate speech, which has been shown to lead to real world violence in India. What's also clear, or at least from the reporting of the documents that were reviewed by the Associated Press and a consortium of other journalistic agencies, because I haven't seen them myself, I haven't seen them posted, but what I've read about it is they talk about how it's clear that to the very top of the organization, there's an awareness that there is this problem, but there's still a consistent failure to act on the information that their employees have gone out and gathered and researched. They'll research it and not enough is being done to correct it or mitigate it. And it's led to blatant political favoritism and a really a potentially unsafe environment for people. Doorknob had Secular Radio saying Susanna is crushing it. That's cute.
Well, Doorknob had,
hey. No. Atheist Republic Cape Town is here. This is a convenient reminder. Hey Dean. Dean, who is one of the consulate leaders for our consulate in South Africa, Cape Town, started his own Atheist Republic channel to celebrate and talk about the issues that affect atheists in the African continent, who are vastly underrepresented in atheist media. He created a whole channel to profile this and to talk about this. So guys, go check out Atheist Republic Cape Town. He does cool stuff. And Secular Rarity is saying, tagging Atheist Republic Cape Town and saying, I'm loving the videos, man. We have an endorsement right there. You guys got to go check it out.
Yes. Thank you for all the work you do there. Can we clap for the next news?
Let's clap, because last news is always Atheist Republic news. And we clap for Atheist Republic news in this house.
Next news. Indian High Court tells Twitter, remove Atheist Republic's tweets. Guys, this is fresh off the press, meaning this came out last night as I was about to go to sleep. I was like, oh, looks like I have some meetings to arrange with my legal team. Okay, let's get into what happened. On Friday, October 29th, it was reported that the Delhi High Court instructed Twitter to take down tweets from the Atheist Republic account. The court referred to the quote-unquote objectionable tweets depicting the Hindu goddess Ma Kali in a sensual pose. A senior advocate representing Twitter India, Siddharth Luthra, said that they would remove the concerned posts once the court gave an official order. In July, the Delhi-based lawyer Aditya Singh Deshwal had issued a complaint against Atheist Republic and Twitter India for allowing the latter to post blasphemous images of the Hindu goddess Kali. In his complaint, Deshwal claimed that the offensive tweets, quote, shook the collective conscience of the followers and practitioners of Hinduism. The Delhi High Court has scheduled another round of hearings for the complaint on November 30th. So,
Many of you guys will remember, like I said, back in July, we reported about how another legal complaint has been issued against us. But what's interesting about it this time was, one, it was the first time that I was named in one of these complaints. I was like, oh my God, I made it. Usually it's just Armin. Two,
well, you were mentioned in FIRs, but yeah, go ahead.
This complaint actually was a complaint that was issued not only against Armin and I as individuals, and also against Twitter India itself as an entity, but it also named senior officials at Twitter as defendants in the case. So meaning that these officials at Twitter are being held in their personal capacity, as a private citizen, liable for these actions, and more broadly, the content that we post to Twitter. So at this time, we don't actually know what specific tweet they're upset about. That hasn't been revealed.
I know, because since yesterday, it keeps the tweet that they have a problem with. That's the one that keeps getting quote tweeted. So there's a campaign right now against that specific tweet. I think it's that tweet. Do you want me to show it?
Yeah, pull it up.
Okay. I think it's this tweet. And you know what the problem with this tweet is?
What?
This? It's right here.
If you look closely, you can see a little sexy Kali.
Yeah. So this is a link. This is the pinned tweet on Atheist Republic Twitter account, and recently has been getting a lot more quote tweets than usual. And this is the tweet that the High Court in India is now making a legal case against because of this tiny little picture right on this shirt, which is like Kalima, sexy Kali, goddess Kali of the Hindu religion. Okay. This is what is shaking the collective conscious of Hindus in India, is this little tweet with a little bit, like you have to like really zoom, like for your collective conscious to be shook, you really have to zoom in. Like you really have to pay attention. Okay. Okay. By the way, guys, go get this shirt.
That was the best quote. Yeah, by the way, definitely go get our sexy Kali shirt. Man, I should have been wearing mine today. Shoot, what a lost opportunity. What better compliment than they're like, this is shaking the collective consciousness of the practitioners of Hinduism. I'm like, oh my God. Like,
by the way, it was calling not just, it was the court was not just calling for removal of the tweet, but the entire Twitter account.
Well, the initial plea that was submitted before the court, you're right. The initial plea did call for them to remove the content and to permanently suspend our account from Twitter. So far, the court has said you only need that. We want you to remove these specific tweets.
Guys, go get a sexy Kali shirt and then take a picture of yourself with the sexy Kali shirt. Again, it's the link to our shirts is actually in the description as well. Okay, and then tweet that so there's more of those tweets. Okay. Also, guys, Susanna is like working so hard behind the scenes to talk to our legal team about all of this, right? And they are really good. So you guys need to go support our legal fund. Okay, this is our fundraiser that Susanna I didn't think it would work, but Susanna was like, we need to do it. And like, okay, let's do it. And you guys got us to, like, our goal was $1,500 and we're already at $1,343. So like we're only $157 short of having the fundraiser complete. So guys, thank you so much for getting us there. Link in the description if you want to continue supporting us to defend ourselves against all these legal actions.
Yeah, so this is a prime example coming conveniently at the time we're running this fundraiser of exactly why this fundraiser is needed. So based off of this news, we are going to have some more legal fees. So we're going to need to expand our fundraiser soon. Please consider, Music Guy put the link in the chat. Thank you, Music Guy. Please consider donating.
Look how great this shirt will look. Look how amazing the shirt would look. Yeah.
Please consider donating. It would really help us out a lot. If Atheist Republic has helped you in your life, maybe you've gotten a lot of enjoyment out of our content. Maybe you felt less alone because of the community that we provide. Now's an opportunity and a moment where Atheist Republic needs your help back. So please consider donating. We haven't had another donation in a few days now, so consider helping us break our dry spell. Whatever you can chip in, even if it's like $1, $5, like it does help a lot. And share our fundraiser as well.
Oh yeah, a lot of people say that they can't support our fundraiser. You know, they don't have money and stuff. Guys, do not support our fundraiser if you're struggling. Please don't. But what you could do is share. Okay, it doesn't cost you anything to share our fundraiser, and we're almost there. Like, we're right there. So please help us get there. Thank you. And like this video also, that helps as well.
Yeah, and this isn't over. There is going to be another hearing on this matter on at the end of November. So yeah, you'll be hearing from us again about this, because the benefit that we have is that we don't live in India. We're not under Indian jurisdiction. And so the stakes and the consequences to me and Armin are greatly lessened. But this is something that we feel that it's important to fight for, because the point of all of this judicial harassment, all of this attempt to censor us and to remove us from any Indians' consumption is has the net effect of it has a chilling effect on Indian society, where people see that this happens and they think, well, I don't want this to happen to me, so I'm going to stay quiet. And we have the opportunity to talk about this issue and to raise awareness about why this issue is so important in India, and also how what Indian secularists are dealing with is so much harsher than the personal consequences that me and Armin face. And because we have that privilege, you know, we want to take advantage of this opportunity to get some eyes on this issue. There are a lot of people in India who want real freedom of expression. No matter how many people harass us, threaten us, try to dox us, saying that we hurt their sentiments. That's not reflective of all of Indian society. And there are millions of people who want to feel like they can express themselves freely and safely without a legal or physical consequence. So it's an important issue. And people try to paint us as being obnoxious and just insulting to Indian culture broadly. And that's not the case. There's been a long tradition of intellectuals and visionaries in India who speak out against such reverence and the idolatry and putting things on a pedestal and anti-blasphemy attitude. This is in Indian tradition. You know, it's, I don't know, something I'm very passionate about. So yeah.
I wanted to thank our legal team. They're amazing. And Susanna is like working so hard and talking to them and, you know, coming up with the best strategies. And they're so helpful. And they also want to make sure that we come up with the thing that, you know, because this is the BJP, the biggest political party in the world. And we have $1,500, right? So to be able to make that work, like, our lawyers have been very helpful to make sure that we get the biggest return for the small little investment that we have. And also there's a lot of people from India that are just giving us advice for free and giving us their knowledge and are talking to Suze about. There's so much happening in the background that we can talk about. Our lawyers have told us not to talk. Maybe one day we could, maybe at some point we could talk about some of it, but there's so much happening in the background, and there's so many other people that are like from India that care about, some of them Hindu, okay? They care about us and they're trying to give us advice on how to move forward with this. And I just want to appreciate all the people. It's just very heartwarming to see how much people care about us succeeding in this. So thank you for that.
Yeah, it really does mean the world to us and to so many other people who, don't show themselves publicly. Manas is saying, thank you so much for doing this. Well, thank you. And Ghost Bunny said that she donated. Thank you so much for donating, Ghost Bunny. And
one last thing I want to say. You go on. You say it before I say it.
Well, it's funny that you have your little white dog Poochie in your lap, because I feel like the dog that you should have with you is your dog Kali, given that we're talking about all this objectionable content about Kali Ma.
Yeah.
Where's Kali?
She's upstairs. I don't know where she is. But okay, I want to say one last thing, okay? Me and Susanna, we are very passionate about this, okay? Because we love India, okay? And we think it's worth fighting for her and defending her, okay? India is the world's largest secular democracy, and if I know we're not, people say like, this is not your fight, you're not in India, but I think because we're not India, we could do this with less cost to us. So I think when it comes to fighting for secular values and democratic values and fighting against bigotry and religious domination, I think India is a major battleground. And this is because of everything that has happened to us and what we've experienced. We have decided to make this our mission, to be part of that fight, like a small part of the fight for when it comes to fighting for free speech and against religious domination. We want to be involved in that, right? So, and there are many other people that are doing this, and we just want to just stand side by side with them. So this is not a lot of people might think that they just came and they did this to us and it's over. Well, for them, yes, but for me and Suze, this has turned into like a multi-decade project that we have like just started in learning about. Like, this is not what we're doing right now. It's not just going to be it. Like, this is our life passion now, to fight against the forces that are limiting people's prosperity, people's happiness, people's freedoms. This is one of the world's most largest populated countries, and the fact that it has so much potential, and it has so much potential, and I think it's making this your battleground is really worth the effort. And we not only do we want to be involved, we are inviting other people that are bigger than us to also get involved. Like, we have like friends and content creators that have much bigger platforms on YouTube than we do, and we want to inspire them to get involved as well. So yeah. Anyways, okay, guys.
I mean, how can we give up this fight? Goddess Kali Ma has changed our life. I mean, yes. You now have Kali Ma in your home. You're gonna have a little Kali running around for years.
She's not so little anymore, but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, love India. Jai Hind. Yeah, actually, I like that more than Jai Shri Ram. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, guys.
Yes, thank you guys for watching. Please like this stream if you haven't already. Make sure to smack it a few more times. Please subscribe to this channel because we do news like this every week. We also have fun Q&As and a lot of other fun, sometimes controversial content. If you're wondering what's on my face, it's Halloween. And if you want to know where you can always keep track of us, find out what we're doing, where we are, where we just got banned from, and where we had to move to, please subscribe to our newsletter. Link is in the description, because obviously people are coming after us legally, trying to remove us full stop from all platforms. For example, Twitter. Well, one platform that they can never take from us is our newsletter. So please subscribe to our newsletter so you can always keep up to date with what we're doing. Monas is saying great stream. Thank you. I appreciate it. I had fun today. I had a lot of fun today.
Yeah, me too.
Puppy kisses.
All right. Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.